So I'm not going to speak anything technical, anything advanced. So back to the basics, back to reality. How actually is, from my perspective, how did we get up to here, and how we are going further? So I'm in crypto for a very long time, like kind of in very early beginnings. So I was born somewhere here in neighborhood. I never actually could identify with myself with all these local problems, local politics, local identities. Therefore, I've always felt like I don't belong here, I belong to the internet. And I was very passionate about internet and how internet evolved. And this is how I discovered the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin in very early days, like it was kind of a thing that was, I perceived it as something that is internal of internet freaks, open source communities, and so discovered it on Reddit. Then I noticed that there are different open source projects, or there's Pirate Bay, Wikipedia, WikiLeaks, and I was thinking it's okay. I never perceived it as something that will go for mass adoption. But yeah, in the meantime, all these guys who were in the internet community started to grow. They started to get into problems, and I realized that actually Bitcoin solves their problems. Like, for example, of WikiLeaks, when they shut down their banking accounts, they continued to function. They continued to accept donations. They continued over the Bitcoin, and it turned out that was the best thing ever that could happen for them, because like over the time, like instead of accepting donation and PayPal bank donations, their treasury actually like multiplied. Here it's written 5,000 times. Now it's already like 500,000 times there. So in this sense, I never perceived it as it's going to have bigger impact, bigger scale than some internal internet open source gateway. So I went around the world to discover where actually people use Bitcoin. So in Den Haag, in Netherlands, there was this Bitcoin Boulevard, still exists. So Bitcoin Boulevard was a channel where all restaurants and cafes started accepting Bitcoin. So somewhere in 2013, 14, like more than 10 years ago. And even though mass media presented Bitcoin back then as money for drug trafficking, drugs, interestingly, in this Bitcoin Boulevard, only shop that did not accept Bitcoin payment was cannabis store, coffee shop. All of them, all other restaurants, bars, and then some clothing stores were accepting Bitcoin as a legal means of payment, while coffee shop was cash only. That's like interesting, like twist where you read from one side that Bitcoin is drug money, and from other side it's not drug money. And then I actually live in Latvia, and in Latvia we have this Air Baltic. It's a local airline company that accepts Bitcoin and crypto as a payment for more than 10 years. So this is where I discovered, okay, this actually, there are other real life use cases where you can spend your crypto, where you can actually, it was proof for me, it was not just some magic internet money that you cannot use outside of internet. Actually, I flew multiple times for crypto with Air Baltic. Actually, Air Baltic continued to develop their crypto offering, so now they have NFT loyalty program and lots of interesting stuff. So there is direct line split Riga. So anytime you come to Riga, make sure to call me, and we can meet up, and I can show you how crypto adoption works in Riga. But here is also not bad. Yes. And like I was traveling to these post-Soviet countries, Russia, Ukraine, Moldova, Kazakhstan, and there, oh my God, I truly felt like I don't know anything about crypto. Because there, every average Joe, like in Ukraine, they knew so much about Bitcoin and mining, they knew so much about some hashing functions, about some stuff that I could not grasp my head around, but for them, like, it was very normal. So they were in crypto very long time before us. So there were this, so many, like, on TV shows, like all this Quartal 49 or whatever. They had so many, like, inside of stand-up jokes, on inside of sketches, they had jokes around Bitcoin, and there were this kind of supermarket. So in front of supermarket, you have payment terminal, and this payment terminal, you can pay anything. You can buy vouchers, you can buy gift cards, you can pay utility bills, and you can pay it with different kind of digital wallets, including Bitcoin wallets. And it was like, for me, sign that in this post-Soviet world, there was very deep crypto adoption already like 10 years ago. And further on, as problems grew in this region, Bitcoin and crypto, like especially like stable coins, they were means of transferring value, of storing value, of going across the borders. Then I met also like refugees, Syrian refugees, African refugees, like who also like it was for them natural that all their value, all their property that they had at home, they sold, they converted to crypto, and then they were going. They don't have hope to go back. They don't know what is their end goal. They are getting beaten by police, by smugglers, by everyone, and like in order to store value for future, all their savings are actually stored on some blockchain wallet, and this is actually the mean of them to survive, the mean of them as they are switching countries that they can function. And that they can actually protect their wealth even when they are attacked by police, by smugglers, by mafia, and it's terrible of this their journey. We don't know much about them. I spoke with these people, and they are very grateful for Bitcoin as a technology that helped them in this journey. Then I had this interesting startup I worked with. It was focused on financial adoption in Africa of unbanked people. So I found this user who is living inside of refugee camp in Tanzania. So there is this massive refugee camp of Burundian refugees in Tanzania. They live there. UNHCR provides them shelter, provides them food, but they don't have right to work. They don't have right to anything. They're just closed in this small prison. Like more than 100,000 people are just closed in this prison, and they don't have right to open a bank account. So they lived all their life without bank account and without like actually participating in the economy. And they discovered this startup, and this was main thing for them. This is how small microtransactions started, microeconomy started within this refugee camp. And then I realized that Africans, they understand crypto much better than we Europeans, because for Europeans, it's mostly like instrument for some investment, speculative trading or whatever. For Africans, it's actually necessity. It actually solves their problems. And for them, it was much easier to understand the concept that money is stored somewhere on their phone and nowhere else, because they had this mobile money. If you don't know, there was this concept of mobile money, M-Pesa in Africa, where you have like prepaid credit on your phone, and you can transfer it to other person. He can pay for service on others. So this is how in Africa slowly money, the physical money, disappeared, and it was much easier for them to grasp their heads around of crypto as a concept, because for them it's like M-Pesa but without a centralized corporation that controls their money or can remove them, delete them, or whatever. Yeah, and then I had this startup focused on digital nomads. I again discovered like digital nomads from all around the world. It's much easier for them to get their salary in crypto, to move between countries, and then instead of like constantly changing local currencies, they are very Bitcoin oriented, and everywhere Bitcoin is accepted around these services, around digital nomads. It was really fascinating. Everything that I say, these are like early adoptions, how I found out that there is much bigger use than just a small internet community, how I figured it out in the beginning. And then in Asia, I discovered that lots of kids, there is so many like new generations who are into games, into digital collectibles. I didn't understand like, okay, what's the point of having some digital collectible? But for them, I realized it's really important. They are really, it's really most valuable thing for them that they have this game asset that is like stored digitally, and this is how I've foreseen even before that all this NFT market will come. I didn't know that it will come so early, but I can foreseen it in the early beginnings of just because Asians are so passionate about digital stuff, games and collectibles. Then in Latin America, crypto is the most important thing in their life because they have so big hyperinflation. The money changes so quickly. It like deteriorates in one day, like it just keeps value of their money just keeps dropping. This is why Bitcoin and stable coins are in Africa are not in Africa, in Latin America is especially important, especially in Argentina, Venezuela, and all these kind of countries that are having lots of problems with their local economies. And there is this country, El Salvador, if you heard about it. They actually was first country that moved Bitcoin as a legal tender. So now when you travel to El Salvador, you can actually pay your visa with Bitcoin Lightning. You can pay everything with you can absolutely live without cash in El Salvador, just having, not really crypto, they're like very Bitcoin Lightning oriented, but still they are very much going away from fiat and stuff like that. Then we know all about this, that in US, there is this year is very big year because Bitcoin ETF got approved and big institutions are all into holding Bitcoin ETFs and crypto adoption in US in a regular life was already like very much implemented, like NFT usage and utilities in US. It's crazy how big and deep is implemented in all these different horizontals, verticals. But now when Bitcoin ETF got approved, institutions are going very big into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is going to the new era. So, how to say, like, even though this journey of what I told you, like 15 years ago, for 15 years, how I'm observing this, how mass adoption is growing, it's still like less than half billion people. In the world, we have more than 8 billion people now, but only 500 million people actually interacted with crypto wallets, with blockchain up to now, and it expected the growth for this reason to be even bigger. So this is like we just crossed more around 5-6% of people who are actually using, and there is a very long way ahead, which is optimistic for our industry. There are so many builders who are hoping that mass adoption will increase, and therefore there will become inflow of new people, new money, and the market cap in general and volumes will keep growing. I believe that it will grow like cryptocurrency adoption in the world, but not in a way how we are used to. It will be more like invisible. People will use blockchain technologies without knowing that it's blockchain. Same thing as they are using internet without knowing what is TCP/IP. And we at ITES, we are focused on this mission. So in ITES, we are focused on creating simple interfaces to make a crypto way of life, to make easy onboarding of all these different crypto projects, of how they can onboard users, how you can off-ramp money, how you can move money around without actually hustle, without knowing all these different kind of details that we are discussing on this conference, which for an average Joe, it's just too much to understand all these different concepts. They just want to use the technology without knowing what is in the back end. So we at ITES, we are very much focused on simplifying this process and pushing forward the mass adoption. Thank you so much. I believe there are no questions. Everyone is in a hurry for lunch, right? Thank you.